What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler and can find all of my work at crumplerbaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Tuesday, May 19th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, kicking things off with the bad news as catcher Ryan Jeffers was placed on the 10-day IL with a fractured hamate bone. Jeffers won't return until sometime in July. It's a big blow to the Twins and to fantasy managers that were riding Jeffers' resurgence this year, me being one of them. Catcher Alex Jackson was selected from the minors in a corresponding move, but Victor Caratini will be the Twins' everyday catcher moving forward. Another catcher injury, Drake Baldwin was placed on the 10-day IL with an oblique strain. Baldwin will miss a few weeks. It's a grade 1 strain, but oblique strains are usually pretty devastating for baseball players. Catcher Chadwick Tromp was selected from the minors in a corresponding move. He could split time with Sandy Leon behind the plate, but I think Leon will get the majority of the playing time at backstop for the Braves. And our last catcher injury involves James McCann, who was placed on the 10-day IL with a quad strain. The timeline for McCann's return is unclear. Aramis Garcia was selected from the minors in a corresponding move, and he will be the backup to Gabriel Moreno, replacing McCann in that backup catcher role. From current Diamondback to former Diamondback, relief pitcher Joe Mantiply, former All-Star, was placed on the 15-day IL with knee inflammation. Relief pitcher Chase Lee was recalled for the minors in a corresponding move. And our last injury, starting pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. was placed on the 15-day IL with shoulder inflammation. Apparently, he's been dealing with this for a while, and I'm unsure if that means it'll be a short stint because it's a minor injury that he was able to pitch through, or if McCullers will be out for a while because it's an underlying problem that requires more invasive remedies, which led the team to sort of put it off and procrastinate on it. There are enough starters in the rotation, though, with McCullers headed to the IL, that the Astros won't need a corresponding move. But they did make one, as relief pitcher Nate Pearson was activated from the 15-day IL. He's been out all season with elbow discomfort and will be a low leverage reliever for the Astros. In terms of transactions, outfielder Dylan Cruz was recalled from the minors. He missed the opening day roster after struggling mightily in the spring, and he got off to a slow start at AAA, but he got back on track after hitting his first homer after a week of struggles in the minors. Since then, Cruz has batted .275 with 5 homers, 5 steals, and a 114 WRC+. The 2023 second overall pick isn't a must roster in standard leagues, as he's proven to be a below league average bat with power and speed potential, but he should see everyday playing time in the outfield for the Nationals and is definitely worth a shot right away in deeper leagues. First baseman Andres Chaparro was recalled from the minors as well alongside Dylan Cruz, but the corresponding moves were outfielder Joey Wiemer being optioned to the minors and Brady House being optioned to the minors. The Wiemer one doesn't make much sense. He's been great all year long, and I guess maybe it's a redundancy thing with Jacob Young and Dylan Cruz, right-handed hitting outfielders, already on the roster. But Brady House is also a significant one, as he was their everyday third baseman. He's been batting third for them all year, and he hasn't been great at the plate since mid-April, 75 WRC+, and he's a below league average defender. I think he's got like -4 defensive run saves and outs above average. But with House vacating the hot corner, we'll see a lot of guys shift through there. Jose Tena, Yorvit Vivas, Andres Chaparro, and Curtis Mead will all see time at third base for the Nationals with Brady House in the minors. Another third base demotion, Royce Lewis was optioned to the minors. He's batted just .163 with 3 homers and a 55 WRC+, as he's striking out 31% of the time. I don't think anybody expected us to lose Lewis in this fashion. He was a guy who's always struggled with his health, so the assumption is always that you're going to have him off your fantasy team because he gets injured, not because he performs so poorly that the club is forced to send him to the minors. But Royce Lewis headed to the minors. Tristan Gray will platoon at third base. He'll be on the strong side. And on the short side will be Orlando Arcia, who had his contract selected from the minors in a corresponding move. Next, starting pitcher J.R. Ritchie was optioned to the minors. He hasn't been spectacular during his time in the majors, but I think it was the right move, as starting pitcher Martin Perez will be able to stick in the rotation for the Braves. Relief pitcher Aaron Bummer was also released alongside Ritchie being optioned to the minors, and corresponding moves allowed Dylan Dodd to be activated from the 15-day IL after missing a couple weeks with thoracic spine inflammation. And there was another one, and I didn't write it down. Oh well, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Next, relief pitcher Chris Martin was activated from the 15-day IL with a biceps injury. He's been out for the past month. Martin will be one of the top holds options in Texas. Relief pitcher Gavin Collier was optioned to the minors in a corresponding move, which is a little curious. Collier's been looking incredible in everybody's tough metrics, so I'm surprised to see them send the young right-hander down, but I'm excited for his potential in the future. Martin, though, will be integral to this bullpen moving forward. Next, outfielder Justinson Garcia was recalled from the minors. The password is the Pirates' number 4 prospect, and he was acquired via trade from the Red Sox over the offseason. He hasn't been great this year, batting .242 with 6 homers and a 91 WRC plus between A ball and AAA, but he should be on the short side of a right field platoon for the Pirates alongside Jake Mangum. Second baseman Nick York was optioned to the minors in a corresponding move. We had another prospect promotion for the Mets. Outfielder Nick Morabito was recalled for the minors. He's the Mets' number 11 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. The 23-year-old Morabito was the 75th overall pick in 2022 and has displayed great speed with a decent hit tool in the minors. He's in the midst of his worst offensive season in his first taste of AAA, though, slashing just 253, 364, 390 with a 99 WRC plus, but he was a 120 WRC plus batter with 6 homers and 49 steals in 118 games at AA last year. Morabito is expected to be on the short side of a platoon with MJ Melendez, allowing him to enter the lineup in left field, shifting Juan Soto to DH when he does so. Outfielder Austin Slater was designated for assignment in a corresponding move. Next, outfielder Jake Meyers was finally activated from the 10-day IL after missing a month and a half with an oblique strain. Meyers should reclaim everyday center field duties for the Astros, which means Bryce Matthews will see time at second base and in the outfield versus left-handed pitchers, as Shea Whitcomb was optioned to the minors in a corresponding move. And lastly, Caleb Thielbar was activated from the 15-day IL after missing a few weeks with a hamstring strain. Thielbar should be the top setup man and the premier southpaw in the Cubs bullpen. Relief pitcher Ty Block was designated for assignment in a corresponding move. And in terms of news, starting pitcher Braxton Garrett is expected to be optioned to the minors after he struggled again with his control in his second big league start this season, which could open a spot in the rotation for the promotion of top prospect Thomas White. So if you want to go ahead and spec add him, I don't hate that. If you're desperate for a high upside starter, Thomas White is not on the 40-man roster, but apparently his start was canceled. He had a scheduled start and they've canceled it. So I don't know if that means he's coming up or if it's for an injury thing, but we could definitely see Thomas White pitching for the Marlins soon. And lastly, somebody who will be pitching for his team soon, Garrett Cole is expected to be activated from the 15-day IL on Friday to make his season debut versus the Rays. He's returning from Tommy John surgery, which he underwent last March. So excited to have one of the best pitchers in the game return, and he should be rostered universally. That's Garrett Cole. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Tuesday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with third baseman Bo Bichette, who did all he could, but the Mets lost in our nation's capital. He went 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in. He's up to 5 homers on the year now. The first one went 406 feet at 106 miles per hour, and the second one 400 feet at 104 miles per hour. Bichette hasn't made a good first impression in Queens with the worst offensive season of his career outside of his dreadful 2024 campaign, as he has a mere 609 OPS and 74 WRC plus, but there are clear signs that Bichette should turn it around other than his track record. He's walking more than ever, and combine that with a 16% strikeout rate, allowing him to tie with last year for his best walk to strikeout ratio. His 115 mile per hour max exit velocity is the second highest of his career, and he has similar StatCast metrics to his career rates, including expected metrics that point to a big bounce back for Bichette incoming. A 280 xBA that's 56 points higher than his 224 average, and a 415 xlug that's 83 points higher than his 332 slugging percentage. Bichette is hitting more ground balls than ever, but it hasn't cut into his fly balls, and it's more so his line drive rate. And I think that will turn around with better luck moving forward. Line drive rate is sort of one of those luck statistics, even if people don't think of it like that. But a luck statistic that people do think of as that is his BABIP. And Bichette has been very unlucky with a 245 BABIP this year, despite entering the year with a career 339 mark. So almost 100 points down in the BABIP department. and that suggests that he has a lot of positive regression to undergo the rest of the season. It's promising to see StatCast back up Bichette's skills and to see that he's not pressing as he's swinging less than ever while maintaining the highest zone contact rate of his career, which is usually a great indicator of batting average. If you want a clear buy low candidate, Bichette is your guy. Lastly, we have first baseman Freddie Freeman, who helped the Dodgers to win in San Diego, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 3 runs batted in. He's up to 6 homers on the year now. First one went 356 feet at 101 miles per hour, and the second one 399 feet at 102 miles per hour. Freddie is in the midst of his worst offensive campaign since 2012, as he has a 777 OPS and a 119 WRC+. We're all thinking, is this age-related regression at 36 years old for Freddie Freeman? But are there signs that he's not washed? StatCast sure thinks so, as Freddie hasn't faded in any category and is underperforming both his XBA and xSlug by a combined 98 points. He's hitting a few more ground balls, but it's not like a notable amount. Freddie's also not maximizing his power with pulled fly balls, but his contact rate and batted ball quality remain intact without any changes to his plate discipline. This is still classic Freddie Freeman, and we should see more big games like this one as he gets back to his usual future Hall of Fame production. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Tuesday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Kumar Rocker, who helped the Rangers to win in Colorado. Rocker tossed 7 2/3 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits, walking 3 while striking out 7, inducing 19 whiffs with 31% CSW across 103 pitches. Rocker earned the Gallows Pole. He actually tied for the Gallows Pole with those 19 whiffs, as Reed Detmers also had 19 whiffs, but he allowed 8 earned runs. Rocker had an opener in this one as the Rangers try to help him avoid the first inning, during which he has an ERA over 11 this year, and it worked wonders yesterday as Rocker recorded the most outs of his career. But is it sustainable? Usually we look for pitch mix changes, better stuff, or improved command, and it was a mix of the 3 here. His velocity was actually down across the board, so I'd say worse stuff, except for on his changeups, which he threw at a season-high 21%. He's been sinker slider with some cutters all year, but here comes the changeup at 90 to 91 miles per hour, landing low. It actually didn't perform that well, but it allowed him to cut back on his hittable sinker, which looked to steal strikes in the zone alongside his cutter upstairs. Rocker actually had an inning where he didn't throw any sinkers, and he paired mostly changeups and sliders with a pair of cutters, but the real hero is that slider as it stepped up below the zone with 13 whiffs and 39% CSW. Now the question stands, can Rocker do it again? Can he command changeups enough to avoid throwing his sinkers? Can he locate his slider downstairs and get the same results? Does the opener actually make a difference, or is it just a coincidence that he had his best outing of the season in relief? I don't really want to test it and find out versus the Astros next, but we'll certainly be keeping an eye on Rocker in that start. Next, we have Martin Perez, who helped the Braves to win in Miami, tossing 5 innings, allowing 5 hits and 4 earned runs, walking 2 while striking out 10. He induced 12 whiffs with 39% CSW across 78 pitches, and those 10 strikeouts were a career high for Martin Perez. What a year he's having. He's been on an incredible run with a 2.85 ERA, and even 1 whip and a 23% strikeout rate through 10 games, fueled by pristine command that remained present here. Perez's changeups cooked arm side for 7 whiffs, sinkers front doored righties, and cutters jammed them while 4-seamers landed upstairs and curveballs landed back foot. Obviously, the 4 runs aren't ideal, but Perez is still cooking, and the Braves are right to ride it out. I'm down to trust this Vargas rule versus the Nationals next. Now we've got Griffin Jax, who helped the Rays to a win against the Orioles, tossing 5 innings, allowing just 3 hits and 1 run, walking 1 while striking out 6. He induced 11 whiffs with 44% CSW across 62 pitches and earned the King Cole as he led baseball with that 44% CSW. Jax is still maintaining his 96 mile per hour velo as he transitions from the bullpen and is much better command here, returning 94% strikes on changeups, which is absolutely insane. He's still a couple starts away from being at a pitch count where we can trust he'll be in line for the win every single time he starts, but Jax's stuff still looks great, and now that he has the command to go with it, he's going to take off very soon. If you're looking for a starter and can afford to wait a week or so for it to pay off, this is your guy. Jax gets the Orioles in Baltimore next. Lastly, we have Bryce Miller, who did all he could, but the Mariners lost to the White Sox. He's tossed 5 2/3 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit and 1 walk while striking out 7, inducing 13 whiffs with 32% CSW. Miller is still sitting 2 miles per hour up on his elite four-seam fastball at 97 miles per hour. And he even added more vert to sit 20 inches of IVB on that four-seamer. Miller leaned on his heater for 7 whiffs and 33% CSW. He threw it more often as well. And he also threw sliders and splitters for a combined 6 whiffs. I think Bryce Miller is a must add everywhere, even heading to Sacramento next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Tuesday, check out give the Plus Pitch podcast listen, and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves, starting with the former. Cade Smith recorded his tied for the MLB lead 15th save. He's tied with Mason Miller for the MLB lead. Cade Smith pitched a scoreless 3-strikeout ninth in that one. Brian Baker pitched a perfect ninth for his 13th save. Tony Santillan recorded his second save with a perfect ninth. Is it Santillan's turn to close again after Ashcraft struggled? Richard Lovelady recorded his third save with a perfect ninth. Is it a committee in Washington? It's hard to tell at the moment because Gus Varland is not getting every save opportunity. Camilo Doval worked around a run for his first save. David Bednar was unavailable after pitching back-to-back days and 3 of the past 4. Brian Abreu got the final out of the game for his third save after Brian King recorded 3 outs across the 8th and 9th. I don't know if the guard has changed here, but Abreu has looked much better recently. Abner Uribe pitched a perfect ninth for his 5th save. Will Klein also had a perfect ninth for his first save. Tanner Scott recorded 4 outs across the 7th and 8th innings. So definitely a weird one here, but the Dodgers were losing, so I think they didn't see a save opportunity coming, but they wanted to get some work for Tanner Scott, and Will Klein was the benefactor. Lastly, Grant Taylor struck out the side in order in the 9th to record his first save of the season. It was a surprise newfound lead in the 9th, so maybe Seranthony Dominguez wasn't going to be able to warm up in time to pitch in that one, but if Taylor is used in even a part-time closer role where he's splitting save opportunities with Dominguez, I think he's worth rostering everywhere. He's got some of the best stuff in baseball. We've just been waiting for him to get some save opportunities, and he looked dominant here. If he's the full-time closer, I mean, he's got to be at least top 10 and pushing top 5. He just looks incredible. In terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Caleb Killian got the final 2 outs of the 8th to earn his 3rd hold. Then he opened the 9th with a single, got 2 outs, then watched the Diamondbacks knock in a run thanks to a defensive indifference steal, put a runner in scoring position, and then a single knocked him in. Then a catcher's interference put the tying run in scoring position, and then the Giants removed Killian from the ball game, only to have Matt Gage come in and serve up a walk-off 3-run homer. I'm not losing faith in Killian based off this outing where he was asked to get 5 outs and got screwed by his teammates. Raisel Iglesias pitched a scoreless 9th with a 4-run lead after the Braves tacked on an insurance run in the top half to ruin his save opportunity. Rico Garcia allowed a run attempting to escape an inherited jam in an 8th inning deficit. Louis Varland pitched a perfect 8th down by 1. Riley O'Brien allowed 2 runs to blow his 4th save, but the Cardinals held on to win in 10 innings. Gregory Soto struck out the side in order in a tie game in the 9th. Jack Perkins pitched a scoreless 5th and 6th to earn his 2nd hold of the season. The A's have been unwilling to commit to Perkins as a traditional closer. Mason Miller threw a ball away on a pickoff attempt, leading to an unearned run and his first loss. And lastly, Andres Munoz allowed 2 inherited runners to score, blowing his 3rd save of the season. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's daily articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Wednesday, May 20th, a day in which we'll have a full slate of 15 games. My matchup of the day is Kyle Harrison versus Edward Cabrera. Both of these guys have the ability to dominate. They have really fun stuff. Harrison with 4-seamers and curveballs, while Edward Cabrera throws like a 95-mile-per-hour changeup, which is ridiculous. In terms of probable starters, we've got 4 guys in the auto starts tier. We've got Chris Sale in Miami, Cam Schlittler versus the Blue Jays, Shohei Ohtani in San Diego, and Joe Ryan versus the Astros. Our probably starts tier has 5 guys, and our questionable starts tier has 9, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Carmen Mlodzinski in St. Louis. He's got a great splitter. If he can command it, he will have success, and the Cardinals give him a better opportunity of doing so without having the strongest lineup. I'd also keep an eye out for Sean Burke in Seattle. He's got one of the best fastballs in baseball. It's got great shape, but the thing is, Burke doesn't always command all of his pitches. He does have a soft landing spot here in one of the best pitchers parks in baseball against a Mariners lineup that isn't super scary. So if Burke can command his pitches and continue to display that incredible 4-seamer, he could succeed in Seattle. In terms of hitter suggestions, I look at Giants and Diamondbacks hitters in Chase Field. We'll see Tyler Mahle and his 5.59 ERA square off against Merrill Kelly and his 5.91 ERA. I know Mahle has had some signs that he's been better, while Kelly has been much better in his last two starts. It's still a situation where both of these guys haven't been spectacular, so there's still a chance for the blow up. And also, both Giants and Diamondbacks hitters are very familiar with the pitchers that they'll be facing. So I think the familiarity factor will allow them to have more success here. I'd also target Orioles hitters versus Steven Matz in Tropicana Field. Matz is returning from the IL, so not expecting a lot from him there. I'd also look at Twins hitters versus Mike Burrows in Target Field because Burrows has a 5.72 ERA. I'd also target Rangers and Rockies hitters in Coors Field, best hitters park in baseball. We'll see Jack Leiter square off against Kyle Freeland in that one. And lastly, I target Mets and Nationals hitters in Nationals Park because we'll see Zach Thornton, who's making his MLB debut, square off against Zach Littell, who's got a 6.10 ERA. Neither of those guys are really expected to pitch exceptionally on Wednesday. Now we can close things out with our relievers to watch. Andres Munoz has pitched on back-to-back days, but so has Jose A. Ferrer. So I guess Eduardo Bazardo should get the save, but the last time I said this, it was Ferrer for the third day in a row. So who knows what the Mariners will do there. Brian Baker has pitched in 3 of the past 4 days. So if the Rays want to give him a day off, I think they'd go to Garrett Clevenger. And lastly, Mason Miller has pitched on back-to-back days. So we could see Jason Adam, Adrian Morejon, or maybe even Jeremiah Estrada get a save opportunity for the Padres on Wednesday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler, where I do daily SP streamers and I break down every single start via the Pitcher List player cards. Tune into YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast, and make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.